Hello and welcome back to Horrific Horror Review. I'm Jim King and
Eric Bonifield,
and we are doing part 2 of Stephen King movies.
Mm-hmm.
So go ahead. Where did we leave off for your list?
Me? Well,
or is it all over the place right now?
I did like the dark half.
All right.
A lot. I like the idea of a young boy writing. It always appealed to me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I always, as a young kid, creative kids, I liked writing as a kid, and drawing and anything creative, And there's not like a team for that,
Right,
there's not like,
right.
So, you get pushed into a lot of shit you're uncomfortable doing as a kid. Like, I never liked baseball and shit.
Baseball.
But my parents didn't know what else to do with me.
Right.
Because they weren't particularly creative. So they're like, we don't understand.
Right. You need outlets, but we don't know what they are.
One time my dad was like, hey, how would you feel about, if we sent you to space camp? Like NASA and shit. And I was like, fuck. And he's like, I would have jumped at the chance to go to space. Well, then go to fucking space camp, man. The idea of being locked up with a bunch of fucking nerds that I don't know for fucking a god knows how long in some strange fucking place. Oh, sounds like a ball.
Right.
No. But, Did
you see that movie?
No, and I did. No, certainly fucking didn't. And if I was the kind of kid who did, I'd probably want to go to fucking space camp.
I wanted to go bad, dude.
Oh, really? God damn it. See? You fuck.
You
missed out.
It was two different things for me. I was in Boy Scouts, so you had to choose those things where you would go for the summer if your parents could afford it.
Okay.
And it was a huge fucking waiting list for Cape Canaveral. Like, every fucking kid wanted space camp, and so I didn't get to
Do they even fucking have that anymore?
I doubt it.
I doubt it.
And if they did, these fucking millennials wouldn't fucking
about
go.
NASA
So
anyway.
like, fuck you.
They've given up on NASA.
I went to the Florida Keys and scuba dived instead. So it was awesome, but it wasn't space, dude. Like, Star Wars is my thing, you know that. So it was like space camp was. And
Star Wars is my thing,
and I wanted to be an Eagle Scout
like
because every astronaut was an Eagle Scout, and I was like, I was gonna do this, and it never fucking happened. But yeah, a bunch of nerd kids that made it probably.
See, yes, yeah. See, I just wasn't into it. Not that I wasn't a nerd kid. I just wasn't that kind of nerd kid, man.
So the dark half, though, I was drawn in by the reoccurring character. Because if I was
which reoccurring character?
The main thing, he was killing off his character. That was where the dark half was coming from.
So there's a writer, right? There's the main character who's the writer, and he has a pen name.
Yes. And he's going to kill Richard Bachman.
Right. He's got a guy who he writes under. I believe it's Alexis Machine was his name.
Sounds right.
And he
goes to the point of making a headstone for this.
That's right. Someone found out that he was in fact this writer.
Right.
And he was a professor at a college. He taught English somewhere, and his publisher was like, you know what? Let's bury that name, and from now on, you'll just write under your real name. And they had like a publicity stunt where they were literally burying Alexis
literally
Machine
a headstone
for him. Yeah.
And those fucking crows, right? They
Yeah.
all just came.
Blackbirds.
Okay.
And
there's a difference.
Alexis Machine is like, fuck you, you're not killing me.
Right. And I love the fucking...
And manifests as a real being.
Black cowboy boots and the slicked back hair and the fucking... I'm not going to take any fucking shit attitude.
Super tard-ass ladies man.
Right? Smoking, drinking.
Everything that the main character, writer, was not. He was a softie, and he was a good guy to his wife, and he loved his kids, and he was just a regular dude. But like everyone, he has a shadow self. He has this other side of himself, and it came out as Alexis Machine, as this writer. Yeah. And it was everything dark about him. And we find out in halfway through the story, towards the end, and I think in the third act, that he had a twin.
Yes, the absorbed twin.
And that he absorbed his twin in the womb. Yes. And that he started having migraines and spells as a 12-year-old kid.
Something, yeah.
Somewhere around puberty. And they thought it was a tumor. Mm-hmm. And they went in and they find an eye and some teeth.
Right? Teeth, yeah.
And, you know, and the eye's looking around like, oh, and it's the fucking twin. What's left of him in his brain. And they cut him out. And that was Alexis Machine. That was him.
Hardcore shit.
It was beautiful, Stephen King. Beautiful.
Twisted, perfect.
And he manifests himself as a real being and comes after the writer.
Badass. Like, didn't he have a sweet black car too? I mean,
he had, yeah.
It was that fucking Torino or something.
It was like a '69 Camaro or something.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Or a Nova. I don't know, man. It was something. I just remember
some cool car.
Some big black badass muscle car.
Tinted out windows and shit.
With huge rear wheels and shit. Ford Falcon style.
Right.
And he was going to trade places with the writer. Like, I'm gonna take over, you know, your body, essentially. Because he was falling apart. The Alexis Machine character,
right?
The pen name, the made up guy, is falling apart throughout the movie. His face starts splitting.
Yeah. He looks just.
He starts bandaging himself together because he's like, I need you to make me real again, dude. You need to write another story.
Yeah.
By my name.
Bring this back now.
And
he's basicly blackmailing him, right? He's
he holds his wife and his daughter, his twins. He has twins,
right?
Which is interesting. And he's gonna kill them unless, you know, he writes another Alexis Machine story. And I believe the thing was, if he does it, he turns into Alexis. Like, Alexis was slowly taking over as he writes.
Right.
I won't spoil the ending, but it's fucking rad. I love the dark half in a big time way. That actor, I forget his name. Let me see if I can look it up.
I'm gonna go with one that always turns into two, but actually I have to address this one first, and it's not a great love, but that same kind of dark half feel. Secret Window.
It had a very similar feel. It's about a writer, reclusive kind of quiet writer.
Yeah, and the other half of that, he was just fucking awesome. That character, fucking Totoro.
I read that book as a kid, maybe 13-year-old kid.
Nice.
And at the time, as a young creator, you know, I was really hard on myself about original material.
Right.
And, you know, what's the difference between influence and just outright, I'm stealing your fucking idea?
It's hard, right?
It's real hard.
My creativity always stemmed from an original stolen thought.
I was extremely hard on myself to the point where I wouldn't allow myself a lot of ideas because they reminded me of other ideas. And that was really stagnating. You know, you gotta
and little did you know, 25 years later, Hollywood, all they do is rip off shit.
Oh, it's ridiculous. You just blatantly. That's
Let's
me being creative.
Reboot the fucking Punisher.
You're not being real hard on yourself. You're not challenging yourself.
Right.
But
so anyway,
Secret Window, dude.
The Secret Window, I had to bring it up.
Johnny Depp.
Right. My next one is The Green Mile.
Okay.
I loved the little short series of books.
Did you love how it came out?
I did.
In serial form that summer?
Yes.
I did too.
Yes.
It made it an event.
Yes.
It was like every 3 weeks or so.
Something like
2
that.
weeks.
Yeah.
They another 4 or 5 chapters.
On the side of the road.
Boom.
And then at the end you could get the cool box set. And stuff.
Super cool.
But the movie, Tom Hanks, love that guy. He pretty much just rocks in everything.
He does everything well.
He does.
I was just talking about him in something. The Money Pit.
Okay.
I was talking to someone who had not seen The Money Pit about The Money Pit.
And Shelley Long, right?
Yeah, and
I saw that when
Tom
he
Hanks
was young.
and his physical humor. And how, like, that's where he comes from. It's like from his amazing timing
with one red shoe. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah, it was great. It was great. I saw him on an episode of Taxi recently.
No shit.
It's
funny how you see this stuff from that.
Hilarious.
Really,
he was the highlight of that episode.
Nice.
It was around the time he did a spot on Happy Days. He was like doing that circle, you know that. But Big, yeah.
Love that movie.
That's a classic movie.
I went specifically on the hunt when I was in Vegas to find that fucking Zoltar.
Oh, did they have it there?
Absolutely.
Oh, see, that machine was scary for me as a kid.
That's a commitment.
Real scary.
Right?
Real
Be careful what you wish.
Did not like Zoltan or Zoltar. Is Zoltar?
And it's Zoltar, I think.
Okay, I think
Zoltan?
it is. No, I think it's Zoltar. I think it is.
You got me questioning.
Zoltan is the crow from Gunslinger from the Dark Tower.
And there's my dogs.
They're Chihuahuas.
They are. Whenever I talk about Green Mile,
yeah,
I immediately start rolling Shawshank Redemption. I don't know why.
Prison movies,
I guess, but it's.
They mentioned Shawshank in the movie. Is it? Does it take place at Shawshank or no?
I don't think so. No, it's
the big guy,
John
Brutal,
Coffey.
transfers, I think, to Shawshank. Or somebody does. Somebody transfers to Shawshank eventually when he's talking about so and so went here, and after that we all split up.
Another movie that it's brilliant and amazing, but it slips through the cracks of Stephen King movies to me. Like I think
in much the same way Stand By Me does.
Exactly.
People don't think.
Again, I'll reference my parents.
People don't think Shawshank.
My parents have no clue it's a Stephen King movie. They would never dig into it, but they love that movie.
Rita Hayworth in The Shawshank Redemption is the original title, which was cool. I thought that would have been a cool title too, but I understand why they did it. It's more of a movie title. They shortened it up, you know.
So what's your next one?
Me?
That one I can go on for hours for, and it's not horror enough.
You know what I would like to see? Honestly, that seems like it would be a really good movie. Is The Library Policeman. You ever read it?
No.
It's in 4 Past Midnight, a collection of 4 stories, novellas. They're too long to be short stories, really. Right. And it's about an insurance agent, I believe, who has to do in a Castle Rock type town. It might even be Castle Rock, I think.
Right. If it's not, it's Derry.
No, it's not Derry. It might even be Derry. But it's one of his reoccurring towns, I believe. If it isn't, it basically is Castle Rock. Most of his towns are Castle Rock, unless it's in a big city like Chicago or New York or something.
Right.
But this guy has to do a speech at the Rotary Club or some shit, and he's nervous about it. He's not a public speaker. So he goes to the library to rent a couple books about public speaking, maybe a joke book, throw a couple jokes in there. He goes to the library, and it's like, boom. He's like, man, they need to, like, redo this library, because this is, like, a library straight out of, like, when I was a kid, like, the 50s.
Like fucking
you know what I mean? Like,
it's
just super old looking. Like, it's not modern at all. And the librarian is a super bitch to him. Just total mean, bitty, stereotype, you know,
old,
condescending, being really condescending to him.
Okay.
And he doesn't like her right away. You know, and he likes most people, so there's something wrong with her, you know.
Right.
He takes these books, and I believe it turns out eventually that this woman is a form of vampire. That he goes to return the books, I believe, and the library looks totally different.
Okay.
It's like modern. And he's like, whoa, you know, they must have redecorated over the course of real fast. And it turns out that librarian, you know, she worked there in the 50s, and she's been
and that's how she prefers it?
The library that he walked into was not the library that was there.
Okay.
That was the library from the 1940s or 30s or whatever time period it was, the past. And she was this. She came to this librarian, this young back in the day. This young hot chick comes to town. She becomes the town librarian, and she's a vampire essentially, but more of an alien vampire. When you see her in her real form, she's like a giant, fat gray slug caterpillar thing with a proboscis that sucks the fear out of your eyes in a black goo. Okay?
Right.
And she will scare the fuck out of you. So you're so scared, it's your fear, again, much like the Tingler, manifests itself in a physical form, and it sucks this black fear juice out of your eyes.
And it feeds on that.
And
so it has nothing to do with blood. It's just it's a fear, man.
Yeah, and it learns this guy's fear, and his fear is when he went to the library as a little kid, he was accosted by this man who said, "Son, I'm a library policeman. You need to come with me." And he molested him in the basement.
Okay.
He totally blacked it out. Completely blacked it out. And this was the first time he's been in a library since, and he doesn't really know why. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
She uses that library policeman against him to scare the fuck out of him.
To feed on it?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, and he talked with this lisp.
And just everything surfaces.
He has these flat black eyes like a shark's eyes. And just his suit, imagine like the Shadow. That fedora hat, overcoat, all dark gray, because she's gray and it's her. Okay. Everything, the face is gray, but the face is not a human face. It's this flat, thin slit of a mouth and these flat black eyes, like you just took 2 black pepperoni slices and slapped them on her face.
Weird.
Yeah, but her caterpillar slug form, it's much more defined with the proboscis and shit, but the eyes are still that same slaps of black baloney on her face. It's
kind of cool.
Cool creature. I would like to see that creature. I would like to see a practical effects version of this creature, not a fucking CG version. I want to see it in the room with the actor, covered in fucking silicone, slime, the whole bit.
You're gonna have to make it yourself.
Old school.
If you want it old school.
Can you imagine what that would look like?
I am imagining it. The shark eye.
It's scary, right?
Right.
You know what's a good Stephen King story?
You got to do movies.
Movie?
You're off track.
Okay, movie. Yep. Movie. Night Flyer.
Never seen it.
It's worth a watch, man.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I didn't think it would be. I didn't. I swear to God. Yeah, and then I saw the vampire. And I was like, my hands were up in the air.
What was the one with
Yes! It was so good.
What was the movie?
Great vampire.
They were like flying fucking meatballs, man.
Flying meatballs? The Langoliers.
There you go.
Oh, fuck me. Okay.
I didn't even mean to bring that up because I thought it was the
we'll just talk about your next movie. We don't have to talk about the Langoliers. Balky. Bartakamus.
I gotta mention Children of the Corn.
Dig it.
He Who Walks Behind the Rose. It was. I watched that young, and it was pretty fucking scary.
I saw it.
It made me not want to travel to mid-America. Exactly. And if I did, I wanted to have a super reliable car. And if I didn't see any adults, fuck that town.
Little kids are their scariest when you're a little kid as well.
But there's certain kinds of kids, too.
And I saw it as a little kid.
I was affected by the redhead kid in A Christmas Story. And I was super affected by Malachi. Redhead, freckled.
Malachi affected me too.
He was a scary fucker, man.
The meanest ginger in town.
I was way more scared of him than I was of...
you know what? No one can ever remember his name.
I can.
Most people remember his name as Malachi.
No, that's the redhead.
Yeah, it's the redhead.
Ezekiel?
I think it might have been Ezekiel.
Eli?
The little...
I know they made like a Children of the Corn 7 or something.
The Amish-looking kid.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. A little black. It looked like a little Winona Ryder.
Yeah, he did.
Fucking kid. He did. He wasn't scary. But that movie, that whole...
All the kids in the town.
Fucking scary,
the kids in
and
the
when
town.
they showed like the reenactment, like in the soda shop, when the kids all just like it was time. Stick the sheriff first.
The kids in the town are overcome by a demon that lives in the soil in this town, and they kill all the adults in town and leave the town empty.
And it always made me wonder too, like what was the cutoff? Like, was there some dude that was like 17 and a half that was like...
I do remember the book definitely mentions that.
It does, but we're not allowed to talk about it.
Okay.
It was movie moments.
Yeah.
Which, again, so are you a fan of any of the sequels? Because I'm
not at all. No, they're terrible.
The first one was fucking great.
The first one's really scary. It's got Linda Hamilton. And I love her because I'm a kid of the 80s, so I love Linda Hamilton.
Everybody does.
And yeah, all the kids in that movie are really fucking scary. You know,
even the ones that come off good, they end up just being creepy.
The creepy little kids who are trying to help the adults. Yeah, they're fucked up.
Fucking creepy. Yeah.
They're not cool. I wouldn't want to be helped by them either.
The way they moved, the way they manipulated the corn. I don't know if they used like really big fans or what, but it was extra
to make
creepy
it move
to me
around.
As a kid. Yeah.
Yeah,
and,
I remember the dirt, the soil moving.
Didn't they crucify somebody?
They did.
Some point.
They did. They crucified her.
That was a big deal for me.
They definitely crucified Linda Hamilton on a cross of corn stalks.
Yes.
With a corn stalk crown and all. Yeah. I did like how he who walks behind the rose moved under the soil.
Right? Like a giant groundhog or
like
Tremors.
Yeah,
exactly. Way before Tremors.
Yeah, way before Tremors.
Tremors.
Great movie.
Love that movie. What's your next one? I got a couple more that are in my past loves.
Movies. We talked. Oh well. Okay. Can we talk about The Lawnmower Man? Can we talk about The Lawnmower Man for 2 seconds?
Yes. Without referencing the book, because I don't think it's possible.
No, I won't reference the book, but I will say, if you're aware of The Lawnmower Man, starring Pierce Brosnan, James Bond,
it's word processor of the gods. Correct?
No, that's a different. No, that's with the little gnome that lives in his word processor.
Do you know what? I'm just going to do it while we're doing the show.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I know you'll remember.
Yeah.
But I have to ask you, I can't remember the name of this fucking story. It's like a mob dude that comes home and gets attacked by a bunch, like I want to say it's called Battlefield, but he gets attacked by a bunch of little army soldiers.
He gets attacked by...
Do you know the one I'm talking about?
There's a little foot locker.
Yeah. Is it Battlefield?
I believe it is Battlefield. Yeah.
I just needed somebody to remind me what that was.
It's a short. We'll talk about this because this is all. There's a movie of it.
Shut the fuck.
Have you never seen it?
No.
I think it's. Man, I might be wrong. It might be Peter Weller that plays the guy. But it might not. But when you see this guy, you'll be like, oh, I know why he said Peter Weller. Okay. Yeah, it is.
They made like an actual full movie.
Oh yeah, I remember seeing it as a little kid,
and then a short story,
and then reading that story as a teenager and being like, holy fuck, I've seen this in movie form as like a little kid, like real young.
He went to battle with those little motherfuckers.
And a guy comes home, this badass comes home. And little green army men are shooting at him and shooting fucking tank
helicopters
shit at him, and choppers are coming at him, and he goes to war with them.
Yeah, and I mean he's got like I remember him referencing. He's got like the 1911, you know, and he's like, "What am I supposed to do with this?" He's like, "Destroy my whole fucking bathroom."
Right.
So I think that initially they were attacking him in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Like I remember a part where the helicopter he can see in the mirror or some shit, and he's like, "Bee stings, fuck."
Right.
You know?
And when the little army guys are blasting, the infantry's blasting. He says it feels like little pinpricks of like peppering his ankles and shit.
So I'm gonna add that to my wish they would remake it list.
Oh, it would be.
I don't know if I'd be into like an older version of it. I'd like to see that new.
No,
and maybe CGI.
I agree.
Awesome. Too.
That is definitely worth remaking.
I would love to watch
with new technology.
So what were we just talking about? What was on your list?
I don't know.
I said you'd remember.
I don't know.
I cursed you.
You did. Hold on. We were talking about the Lawnmower Man.
We were. No such luck.
So, yeah, you tried.
I'm not a fan.
Who is?
I don't know.
It sucks. It was terrible. It's a Stephen King adaptation in name only. Stephen King went to war with those guys to get his name taken off of it, and he won. He won that case. And the book is, as you know, is a completely different story. That is, it's about ancient gods as opposed to technology. It's complete. It's so you can't get any more different. But anyway,
such a turd.
Check that book out.
Cujo.
You like Cujo? I know you've told me before.
I do.
I don't.
What is it about it? Unrealistic? Not scary enough?
Not scary. I like the dog. He wasn't scary to me.
No.
I think the book might do a better job of making him scary. Maybe. I haven't read it.
Maybe, but I never felt like I was really supposed to be scared of the dog.
Okay.
I felt more like the appreciation of the woman and
being
her son
stuck.
and the situation and the broken down car.
Right,
and,
being stuck in that car like that.
Yeah, because I mean, eventually
right.
the heat wave, and I think the scary part is that could happen to your mom or your
or I
something.
got that impression.
I always pictured myself
kid.
being able to go to war with that fucking dog too. It's a dog,
Right, it just wasn't scary enough for me.
Yeah. But he was
fuck that dog.
But it had those jumpers.
I remember
I was a little kid, and he'd go sleep on the porch for a while, and he'd fall asleep, and then bam, and you holy fuck.
He's in the windshield,
good. Yeah, and angry again, and foaming at the mouth, and crazy. It was that thing again. Where in my generation, I was always warned about rabies and shit. I have never been approached by a rabid dog. Ever.
Was there a rabies craze in the 80s or something? Because I remember, be careful of that fucking dog, it's got rabies.
Exactly. I mean, if you got bit, they wanted to, take it down to some vet and have it tested and all this shit. And I'm like, when was the last time that fucking happened?
Yeah. But I remember plowing a neighborhood dog with my metal tin Batman lunchbox, pow! Because it was coming at me. I was like, fuck! Bang!
Exactly.
And it went, right. So I was like, fuck Cujo.
Right?
As a little
good
kid,
punch to the nose.
You're like, it's a dog, man.
I think and the whole aspect of the cheating husband situation, the cheating wife, and the husband out of town.
A lot of infidelity in Stephen King.
Yeah. You can tell it's an
issue with him.
Yeah. For sure. You can tell. Yeah.
He definitely thinks about it.
Yeah. 1408, or no, I'm sorry, Secret Window.
Secret
he just
Window.
went for it on that and stuff.
A lot of them. The Ledge. Mist.
The Mist, man, that annoying church lady. That was a good movie with a great twist.
I just watched The Mist recently on Sunday. It just happened to be on. I was at my mom's hanging out, and boom, The Mist is on. I didn't even turn it on. It was just on.
Did you watch it from the start?
I did. The very start.
I forgot the start. I watched it recently too, but then bowed out. But he's painting Roland.
Yeah.
And he's got all these other
I'll never forget it.
I don't know why I missed that. Maybe it was always grabbing the popcorn or something, but it was... just recently too was the first time I saw it, but I didn't finish it off.
He was painting a movie poster for The Dark Tower, The Gunslinger, and it was much more the book than the movie that came out recently, which I still have not seen, and I won't see. I won't see it. I fucking won't see it. I'm not gonna do it. I hear it's a sequel. They're calling it.
I don't see how.
Here's what I got from The Dark Tower. We're good. We'll do this real quick.
I saw it in the theater.
He's done it. It's cyclical. He's done this. Roland has chased the Man in Black many times before. This is the next chapter in that, him chasing the Man in Black. Which, whatever.
I'm fucking salty on it.
I'm super fucking pissed.
They got my $18, and the only thing that made it worth it was the comfy seat I was sitting in, and the few references. I mean, they placated is what they did. The few things and so many mandatory.
What was Ron Howard thinking?
I don't fucking know.
What was he thinking?
Paycheck. Man? I don't fucking know. I don't know how the whole thing happened.
He must not have been a fan. Anyways,
just salty about it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Let's not get shitty about it.
Needful Things.
I like Needful Things.
Pretty good, pretty mellow.
It's a chill movie.
It's a chill movie. It's not the horror. It's
all right. Needful Things is one.
But we were talking about The Mist. We got Dark Tower.
Oh, do you want to talk about The Mist?
I like The Mist.
The Mist is definitely related to The Dark Tower in a lot of ways. The worlds. Stephen King and his worlds, man, they're all connected. I loved The Mist as a kid. Read it as a kid. I'm a monster guy. I love my monsters. It's full of monsters.
Cool ones too. Very Cthulhu looking, lots of tentacles.
A lot of H.P. Lovecraft influence.
Yes.
In that story.
Yes.
David, the character played by Thomas Jane in the movie, is very relatable. Super relatable guy. I remember
he's the guy next door.
Even as a kid, like an 11-year-old kid reading that book, I remember relating to that guy. It's
just a regular Joe.
Man, how he gets pissed and how he calms down and that adrenaline, you're still shaking and. Stephen King's great about defining and explaining the human condition and getting you to understand exactly how a person's feeling physically.
I like how he portrays how different people will act in different situations. There's, he's really good at describing that person that will flip the fuck out, and that person that'll hold it together, and the person you never thought that could be a hero even steps up all of a sudden.
A lot of that, like with Ollie, the assistant manager at the here, The Mist. We'll do it like this. The Mist is about a guy and his son and his shitty asshole neighbor trapped in a grocery store after a storm the night before. And a thick mist, came across the lake and was coming towards him and his house and his wife. Yep. And he went to the grocery store in the opposite direction, leaving his wife. Yep. And eventually, the mist catches up to them at the grocery store. And a guy comes running out of it just after the town warning horn.
Aren't there the kids like bitching that they were about to go off on leave?
There's a group of army. An MP comes and he's like, "Hey, you motherfuckers ain't going anywhere." They're from the Arrowhead Project, which comes in later. A guy with blood all over his face comes running out of the mist into the grocery store. And he's like, "Something in the mist took somebody. Took this dude." And he's just got a bloody nose, because he fell. And they're all like, nobody took anybody. Like, calm down.
Because rationale kicks in before you know the horrors they're about to be.
And it turns out that this mist, and they explain it in the book like this mist is almost like another dimension coming through and pulling this dimension inside out like a sock.
Right.
And pulling this other dimension into ours. And
which I love the idea of.
The shit that lives in this dimension is not shit you want to be dealing with.
Right.
Because it's a mist dimension where sight is almost useless.
Completely.
That's what I thought. All of these animals rely on extrasensory smell and vibration. But mostly smell, they find out. That's what saves them in the story. Right. And I think in the movie as well. Some of my favorite creatures were the spiders next door.
In the
drugstore.
When they go to I loved that.
They make an expedition.
They felt very drugstore. Like Thing almost.
It is. It's people trapped in a location having to deal with each other. Very different people having to deal with each other in a dangerous and isolated situation. And
the people that they had to deal with.
My God.
The religious lady for me. I don't know how long I could have took her.
Stephen King very often will turn the religious zealot into the bad guy.
Well, they're the first ones to get judgy and shitty.
They're the first ones to start making sacrifices to keep everybody safe. Right. That's the problem.
I remember that too.
Because they believe in a higher power, and they believe that doing something crazy will appease someone.
Like the creepy lady from Edward Scissorhands too?
No,
she was.
No. But she's a good actress, and I forget her name. She's on a show called Code Black on TV. She plays a doctor or something. She was the mom in fucking the fucking Drew Barrymore.
It's so bad you can't even say it.
Let's just move on.
I love The Mist for the ending. The
movie, it's a kick you in your fucking nuts ending.
It felt very Shamalama Ding Dong to me.
Much better ending than the book. The book leaves it open.
Right.
We're just going to keep moving south until we find help.
I liked watching them give up.
They gave up. They fucking gave up. That was the thing. They gave up.
Seconds
before help. And what's that? I think, what are they trying to tell us? They were trying to tell us something there, man. Like, don't give up. Like, don't do it. Don't. Especially don't take yourself out of the equation. Don't do it.
Surviving.
That's right. It's all because, it's all about, that's right. That movie was all about survival.
So my movie of, if you could make a movie choice, is Survivor Type for sure.
Okay.
That guy on the island, I need to see it.
Survivor Type is a short story.
Love that fucking story.
About a failed surgeon who is smuggling a kilo of raw heroin back to New York to sell.
Because he's already been busted for selling script pads pre-signed it's all over for him, but still hoping to make it all work for him.
And he's been shipwrecked on an island that's the size of a fart.
Pile of rocks.
Just a pile of rocks.
Not agriculture, no sand, rocks.
Nothing growing.
Nothing.
There's a little bit of shade. There's kind of a cave type area where he performs his
surgical procedures. Exactly. There's a bird that mocks him constantly until he injures himself horribly over it. He can't fish for shit.
At one point, I know he eats every crab and mollusk type thing
everything
living within.
Flip a rock to get, basically.
Yeah, he's eating everything.
And then the broken ankle.
And he breaks his ankle trying to hunt this fucking seagull.
That is just fucking mocking him. There's no other way to put it.
The ankle gets infected, and he has to amputate. Lucky he's a surgeon.
Lucky, right?
He has some material from a lifeboat. He has. Luckily, he has a kilo of heroin to help with the pain. He also has a knife from the lifeboat, as well as some matches and pen and pencil and paper, I think.
Yep.
And he cuts his foot off. And
I love how this is written in diary form as well.
Because it's the pen and the pencil and paper were in the life.
I think it would be everything that Castaway wasn't.
Oh man,
just be awesome.
Well, it was a man.
I liked Castaway.
I do too. I love any Castaway type story. I love stories about people who have been marooned and how they survive. What you gonna do?
Yeah. And they always do it real weird to me.
There's a book called Adrift that's about a guy whose boat, his yacht, tips over, and he's on this little lifeboat for months, 8 months, maybe 13. I don't know, like a huge amount of time. He's just floating in the wrong part of the ocean.
Water. How?
He did a lot. You read the book.
Okay.
Read the book. But we were talking about Survivor Type. You want to like that?
That as a movie? I want to see that. I think it's one of those that you could get real deep with it because you wouldn't have to blow your wad and budget on set.
It's a single actor.
Right. I mean, almost as much as, like, have you seen Phone Booth? You know how they just almost got away with an entire movie in a fucking phone booth?
It's one small location.
You could do very little filming in a major city and then a couple airplane scenes.
It is the perfect story for a small filmmaker.
Right, with a passion for it. Yeah. Which I found out recently, Stephen King, he's got a ton of short stories that he allows people to make films of. Right. Not having to pay up copyright.
There's a short story that I would like to see that would make a good movie, and it was called Gray Matter.
I remember it. The kid that had to go to the store to get the smokes
to pick up his dad's beer
and shit. Yeah.
How
and
you
his
doing,
dad
Jimmy?
just slowly
Not
turned
great.
into a fucking blob.
His dad opens up a can of beer one day. His lazy piece of shit dad.
Skunked, right?
And he goes, man, that's skunky. And he drained it. And it had this gray slime around the rim of it. And his dad was not letting the beer go to waste.
That's a night shift?
It's a great I believe it is night shift.
Yeah. And that's another one we were talking about the other day, too. The one with the hands. Or the eyes in the hand. The guy that goes into space.
No, that was a night shift, wasn't it?
I think it's the cover.
Yeah.
It's the hand with the eye.
For some stupid reason, I remember that as being in Nightmares and Dreamscapes.
No,
I'm sure you're right, but that's how I remember it.
Yeah.
Let's see.
We got all the movies knocked out that we.
I don't know. Go through your list.
Dreamcatcher, I was telling you, I just watched that the other night. No. We got to hit Carrie, I guess, right? I mean,
for a minute. Carrie, the first. It's the first one. The one.
Yes.
That's the one, man.
Yes, that is the only Carrie.
His first published novel, Carrie, dude. It started it all. And it said a lot.
The great cast.
John Travolta.
Right. And Sissy Spacek. I hate her. But I just don't like her. It's kind of... I said hate. That's a cruel word. I just dislike her.
Okay.
She's one of those people
That's so much better.
Yeah, I just dislike her. She reminds me of like Shelley Duvall, another character we were talking about that just wouldn't make it in today's movies as much. I see what you're saying. She was kind of a dud, which worked great for the movie. Mm-hmm. You know, that was the part.
Right.
But other than that, I didn't care for it. But she was perfect for the part. Perfect.
Didn't she play... she's definitely unique looking. She's scary looking, which is why I think she was chosen for that role, because she is disturbing looking and uncomfortable to be in the room with her. Right. That's the impression I got. I wouldn't want to be in the same room with her, which sucks. Like, I wouldn't be dumping pig's blood on her.
Exactly. I wouldn't have provoked her.
No.
Exactly.
No. But John Travolta's car was great.
Right.
I don't know why I remember that so well.
Because we're guys, we remember cars. I can tell you all my favorite cars from every movie, pretty much.
I know, right?
Even bad shows I watch for the cars.
Yeah.
Like Hardcastle and McCormick. No one remembers.
You've mentioned that.
But I loved that fucking
every time
car,
you say,
that
every
little
time.
piece of shit. It was such a horrible show. I watched it for the car chase.
Jim mentions Hardcastle and McCormick.
Check it out.
I think
Great little
Simon and Simon is what, like,
Simon and Simon. They had
breaks into my mind.
Dodge Ram wagon, fucking truck.
They did have a truck, yeah.
Right.
It was the Cool Brothers truck. And I think the Slick Brother had something else, something lame. But
that's pretty much all the movies I think that I had to hit.
That you
Carrie
really liked.
had to. You know, I don't count it as a movie. You can TV show, whatever. I'm back and forth on it. You know, Tim Curry was amazing, but in a whole, I don't know if I've ever completed it without falling asleep. It fucking bores me to tears. It's just dated, and
it's very dated.
And
the miniseries is extremely dated.
It's painful to me almost. It's so long and
it's
boring.
Very dated.
Did you see the new one?
I did. I liked it.
You did?
Despite myself.
Me too.
Everything was superior.
I went to see
Pennywise.
it so I could talk shit. I paid to have the right to talk shit.
Everything was superior, but Pennywise. I thought if this movie had Tim Curry, it would be perfect.
Agreed.
It would be the perfect it. It would.
Because it was visually stunning, and they did a great job with it.
And scary,
I had lots of creepers,
and a lot more like what I pictured in my mind.
And of course, it left out everything key.
Well, it left out the key scene in the book, which was when.
Are you gonna go with the homosexuality, or are you gonna go with the smoking pot, or when the girl banged all the boys?
When the girl,
all that stuff got left
had
out.
sex with every boy,
right,
and reconnected their bond together, and they got out of there,
right?
Because they were lost, man. They weren't getting out of there, and they were broken as a group. He broke them as a group. Like they beat him, but not really,
right?
And he broke them as a group.
Pushed them
he
away.
Scared them to the point where they were shooken the fuck up. Man.
That fucking spider.
And she, brought them back together. And it was beautiful, man. But it's not as a kid. And I read it. I was lucky because I read it as a kid. I read it as a 12-year-old kid. Right. So I was like, fuck yeah. And, I didn't read it as an adult or see it for the first time as an adult. And I wouldn't want to see that. But they didn't have to do it like that.
It was left out in good taste, I think, I guess. But.
It was left out in good taste, and I think they could have done that in good taste, man. I don't know. I don't know. That's something that's a part of that book that a lot of people have issue with, but
any movies left on your list?
Movies? We have talked about every fucking movie that I'm into, really, that comes to mind immediately. There's one that we've skipped over and that a lot of people love. It, like a big obvious. It's not one of my big obviouses, and there's for a couple reasons, but it was a huge fan base, and it was a to-do, it was an event. Okay.
Pet Sematary was huge for a lot of people.
Pet Sematary was huge. The book was huge.
I loved the book. It is officially the first book I read of Stephen King.
Really?
It is. It was an accidental read, even.
I couldn't get into it.
It was the one that got me into it, and then I found all the collections of short stories, like I said, and they really wrapped me up. Then
Skeleton Crew,
The Jaunt too. That's another one that would be a great one.
The Jaunt would be a great story. The Jaunt. Okay, let's talk about The Jaunt.
You'd rather go there?
Yeah, totally. The Jaunt is about this family going on fucking vacation, and they're sitting in their waiting area.
Space.
They're a terminal,
right?
And turns out they're not getting on a plane or a jet or a rocket. they're going to jaunt their way to the moon.
I think so. It's
or Mars, or maybe even
it's like a vacation Dakota. Destination planet thing,
somewhere.
Fucking something.
But they're jaunting there. They're teleporting.
Right, and there's only a few rules.
And yeah, you cannot be awake when you jaunt. You have to be asleep.
And the kid is literally egging it on from the
son
kid.
is asking the dad, "Why is that, Dad?
What if I held my breath? What would happen?"
Well, you don't want to do that, son, and I'll tell you why. And he continues to tell his son, while they're waiting for their turn, about how the jaunt was invented and what happened to the first men sent through the jaunt.
Right.
And how they died.
Right.
And eventually they discovered that if you go through this teleportation device unconscious, you come out and they're able to wake you up and everything's fine. It's just
right as rain.
You just walk through a door.
Exactly.
If you are conscious, you spend an eternity in this no space in between spaces and go fucking mad and your hair goes white.
Exactly.
And you're lucky if when you come out the other side you immediately die from shock.
Right.
You're lucky
if that happens.
But if you're not, you go mad from having spent the last millions of millennia in this space.
Right.
And God knows what was in there with you.
Exactly.
And this fucking kid holds his fucking breath when they give him the fucking gas. And the dad, he comes out the other side. He took the gas and he jaunted and he's like, he's hearing screaming. He's like, wakes up and he sees this old man next to him screaming.
Yep.
And then he realizes that he's the one screaming because the old man is his son. And he's not really old, but he looks ancient and his hair is white.
Yep.
And there's not a wrinkle on his face, but he looks like he is millions of years old, and he is
stark green, fucking crazy.
And yeah, I believe maybe he starts clawing his fucking eyes out.
Something, yeah. There's something
as they pull him out of the room, away from everybody else. Like maybe the jaunt isn't as safe as we thought it was.
Right.
And that,
or a little extra precautionary measures for fucking bratty kids that don't listen.
It would make a great hour-long Netflix movie. It would. It would. Hour and 10 minutes, man. Quick shot, 90-minute movie, something.
Any movies that you absolutely hate that didn't make your list?
Stephen King movies that I hate, Sleepwalkers.
All right.
Fuck you with that movie.
Okay.
Fucking
trash.
Yeah, piece of shit. Right. There were cool parts about it.
There was. Like the car.
The car, when he changes his car. Like, they're very much like vampire. And again, there are multiple kinds of vampires in Stephen King stories. They're not all bite your neck and drink your blood.
Right.
There are all kinds of creatures that
something preys on you.
Suck something out of you.
Energy, life force.
Fear.
Black goo.
And sometimes it is just blood, as in the case of Salem's Lot.
Right.
And the priest in Salem's Lot turns up again in the Dark Tower series, Father Callahan.
Right.
When, we find out, that Salem's Lot is a book in another universe, and Father Callahan is just like, what the fuck? This is my life in a book. And that's when we find out that Stephen King has written himself into his own story.
Yep.
And he went there, bro.
Yep, he went there.
Oh, man. Let's talk about it.
So, yeah, that's your star turd.
Yeah. I did not like Sleepwalkers. I thought it was pretty bogus. It just didn't scare me, and it didn't. The idea of cat creature vampires,
right.
And the son has to do the mom in order to transfer the power over to her. And it's just like, what? No. Not as a teenage, watching it as a teenage boy. Not into it, bro. Not into it.
I forgot one that's on my very last.
Okay.
I forgot. We have to hit it. We got like 5 minutes left. Or 1 minute left. Running Man.
Oh, one of the Bachman books.
Not true to the book. Of
Not
course,
at all.
we'll end it off with what we started promising we wouldn't do. God damn it, not like the book at all. But what a great movie for the age I saw movie. It. I loved it.
Fun movie.
And like we were talking about the other day, like,
I love those flicks.
Why couldn't they have kept more true to the story? It wouldn't have impacted the bulk of the story, really.
They won't make that movie ever again.
Right.
They will never make a correct adaptation of that book.
You don't see it being a redo, though?
No.
I think it's a perfect reboot. It'll happen within the next 5 years.
They would I think the movie is a rebootable version. The story, the written story, they will never make that book because of 9/11 and September 11th, you know, and it ends the same way.
Right.
Our hero flies a 747 into a fucking skyscraper, and it rains fire for 60 blocks. And no,
so, too soon.
They're not. Still, they're not making. You know what? Maybe in 30 years they'll make that story, but
it puts another spin on it.
I just don't think they would. They would make that. It was a great story, man.
It was.
You know, Ben Richards was
save your kid.
Not Arnold Schwarzenegger. He was a skinny,
regular guy, dad,
didn't
trying
take
to get
good care of
aspirin,
him, starving,
antibiotics
in the ghetto. Gave himself up, his life up to the government, essentially, to be hunted by these men on television.
Sport.
To get his child medicine and his wife money to eat.
Yep.
What
completely different spin.
And it takes place in the near future. And
all right.
Super cool.
We're out of time, man.
Stephen King. We talk about Stephen King all day.
Yep.
All day, man.
All day, every day.
Yeah.
And we could go for the books next time.
Nona. That's another one. I got shut up, man.
All right. See you next time.
All right.